Morning all, how are we doing? Morning Ladder, morning Trevor. Happy Monday. Not sure how many people will be up this morning from America. Getting up early in the morning, it is bank holiday, so maybe a few less today. Right, reading something. Right, morning Fabio. So we'll kick off with a look at the news. There's quite a bit of overnight news to digest, and obviously it's a very, very big week this week with rate announcements. So there's a lot of volatility potentially today and this week. So we'll have a look at what's coming up first of all. It's bank holiday today in Canada and US, so there's no futures market this afternoon. I expect the UK market still to be pretty buoyant this morning. We've had a few gaps opening up. We've had a bit of oil news over the weekend. So I think we'll still get some movement. It might be a fairly quiet afternoon, but this morning will probably be fairly normal. But you can't tell, so we'll see what happens today. It might be a dead day, but we'll just have to wait and see, really. So coming up this week, we've got the rate announcement for the Australian dollar tomorrow. There's nothing else much today, apart from the OPEC meetings. There is OPEC meetings all day today, and I'll cover that in a second. So Aussie rates tomorrow morning, forecast to go up to 2.35. So that's a sort of half percentile increase, which is the kind of the norm. So we may get a little bit of a movement to the upside on the Aussie in the morning. We've got the PMIs for the US dollar tomorrow afternoon, so could get some good volatility there. GDP for the Aussie on Wednesday. Monetary policy meeting minutes on Wednesday as well for the pound. Then we've got the Canadian rates on Wednesday. So Aussie rates tomorrow, Canadian rates on Wednesday, they're going for 0.75% as forecast. So again, we should see some decent Canadian dollar strength on Wednesday. Then moving into Thursday, we've got low speaking in the morning, and then it's the euro rate, which is the big one. So at the moment, the forecast is 0.75. Morning, John. Morning, Themba. So 0.75 is the forecast, which is a little bit more than previous, obviously, which was 0.5. That if it comes out at anything above 1.25, I think we'll get some decent strength on the euro. If that comes out at 1.25, which is as expected, we may see some temporary strength on it, but I'm not sure whether the market would be particularly happy with a 0.75 increase. So we'll see. It all depends how much of that movement is already factored in, how much of that movement has happened, because we've had the euro pushing, obviously, over the last couple of weeks. We've had this decent movement to the upside on the euro pairs, which is the market factoring in the expected rate increase. You can see there's all this movement to the upside that we've had. It is coming down again at the moment, so it's very difficult at the moment to tell what's going to happen with this one. But this is the biggie. This is the one because it's one of the obviously the major currencies. We're waiting to see how much the market reacts to it, and I get the feeling we might see a little bit of a negative reaction if they come out at 1.25. Probably positive initially, a spike, but I don't think the market will be happy with that. So we will see. That's the big one on Thursday. We've got the ECB press conference in the afternoon, and we've got Powell speaking just after. So Powell will be addressing the impact on that, and obviously we'll see what comes out. But it's going to be a busy day Thursday, and then on Friday we've got CAD unemployment and a couple of other talking heads. So really busy week this week. We've got three major rate announcements, one after the other. moving forward day by day. So it's going to be a very big one. Wilson, do you think maybe the rate's already priced in? Yeah, quite possibly. With these, the euro's been crushed across the board for ages, absolutely ages, apart from the euro. I don't think 0.75 is enough to help them get out of this slump. I think 1%. There's talk of 1.5% increases. I think that's a little bit bold, but equally, we are in a big problem at the minute. So it could well happen that they do increase by that much. But yeah, I get the feeling a lot of this is factored in, and this is what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. This kind of flag, and I think that's potentially going to break, but we'll see. I've got Euro New Zealand short on at the moment. That's the only euro I've got on. If this gets down to a point where I can sort of bag 0.5% to 1% out of it, I'm probably going to take it off before the rate announcement just in case and get flat on the euro, because I don't know what's going to happen. No one ever does, and that's the whole thing about news. It's impossible to tell what the actual reaction will be when you get these fundamental releases that potentially can shift the direction of a currency for the next 6-12 months onwards. As a position trader, as a normal trader trading with a normal stop loss, it's irrelevant to you. It doesn't matter, because what happens, and you either get stopped out or you make a profit on your trade. When you're position trading, it can have a massive impact when you're positioned the wrong direction after a fundamental news release comes out. So if you don't get that initial spike and pullback in let's say you're short and you get that initial spike, if you don't get that pullback to get out of your position, you can go off for quite a long time in the wrong direction and a big squeeze, and you don't want to be caught the wrong side of it. So really, anything, like same with the Aussie, same with the CAD, these positions, if these come out and fundamentally shift these currency pairs in a direction, and you're on the wrong side of it, you're going to get squeezed and it's going to hurt. So always around these, you want to try and get as flat as you can on them. The euro especially, because the euro is the one that is really behind with the rates. So they have got to do something drastic, but 0.75, as I say, I'm not sure that's enough. If they go 1.5, I think it'd be big. So we'll see. Morning, Shalk. So OPEC meetings today as well. So I was talking about potential impact today on oil. OPEC meetings, basically, OPEC is the kind of governing body, if you like. It's the all of the oil countries basically meeting up to decide on what they're going to do with production, have a look at the possibility, the problems they have, etc., etc., etc. But what comes out of the OPEC meetings typically is kind of like a Fed meeting, if you like an FOMC, where you have a monetary policy, in this case an oil policy, moving forward. So they will announce today at some point what their policy is moving forward. The forecast is that they are going to freeze production. So we've got dropping barrel numbers. Oil, what is oil? 330. Oh, wrong row. Why have we got going? Where's oil gone? I go in blind. Oh, it's bank holiday the next day, won't it? Okay. And it's moved forward half an hour. So with the oil figures, we've been getting worse, i.e. The stocks have been dwindling on oil for the last 3 weeks. And we've had a bit of stability. That little drop we've seen in oil is stabilizing, and it looks like it's rounding and looking like it's going to go back up again, which you would expect if there's less supply available and the demand stays the same, prices increase. So what OPEC is potentially going to be doing today is saying we are not going to increase our production of oil, although oil barrel numbers are dropping. And what that will do is it will gradually put pressure on prices for oil, and oil prices will start to rise. So that is the forecast today. Come on, news, you're not going to let me scroll back, are you? Which was in here somewhere. Can't remember where it was there. At the meeting today, likely to freeze output. Wall Street Journal sources, I don't know who they are. Russia is not happy about it, but nothing much they can do about that. They can't turn off their oil, can they, Russia? Because if they do, it's just going to make it worse, and which is what they don't want. So yeah, so potentially we should see some price rises in oil today, but I get the feeling we won't see that happening until OPEC until the OPEC meeting is finished and that is confirmed. But prices certainly are on the rise so far this morning. So oil today, we've got a possibility of getting a big old spike at some point. So what happens with these meetings with OPEC is you get they go into a closed meeting where the press are not allowed, and what they do is they come out of these meetings and have breaks. People talk to the press during the breaks and you get the odd snippet coming out, but at the end of the OPEC meeting they will release a statement, and that statement is what they are going to be doing moving forward. That is when you tend to get the confirmation, obviously, of the policy on oil, and that is when you tend to get that spike. You never know when that's going to be because it depends how long the meetings last. So at some point today, be ready for a massive spike on oil. Probably, if they are going to do what they are speculated to do, it'll be up. So if you're long on oil, try and hold on to it as much as you can, because there's a good opportunity today for some decent movement. So that's news. There's lots of other news about Germany capping their prices on energy, limiting company profits. They've just announced another relief package. We've got the new Prime Minister being announced today in the UK at 12:30. And then obviously we'll be putting in place something along those sorts of lines as well to get on top of this price rise that we're seeing on all the energy. So I don't think that's going to make any difference today who gets elected. It doesn't matter who gets elected. I don't think it's going to spike or drop the pound in any way. But that's all news-wise from the weekend. So that's all the news covered. The funded account last week, on Friday, I banked 1.23%. Okay, that's working. Good. Just to let you know, I'm running a new EA. There we go. On this account, just as an experiment. That lot size is actually a little bit high. Just going to drop that. This is an experimental EA. I wanted to go completely mad. There's a new strategy that I've been developing, scalping strategy. In and out, very quick scalping strategy. So yeah, banked 1.23% on Friday on the funded account. Yeah, up to 2% basically. Got a fair bit of drawdown on it at the moment. But it's pretty well aligned, I think, with all the positions. I'm quite happy with the positions I've got on at the moment. So yeah, Wilson, could you explain the details of funded account experiment? It was not an experiment; it's just an account. Basically, this is phase 2 of my Forex funds, and this is just running the EA, my market reversal alerts EA. Basically, so I have the market reversal alerts EA running on here, and it's just trading away basically. So it's just position trading. So that's what you see on here. It's just the EA taking the trades. Yeah, phase two. So I've got a target of 5%, which is $2,500 is the target. You see this DAX EA I've got running keeps taking these trades. Very big, very fast scalping EA this. It's designed literally to get in and take little bits of out the market very, very quickly, based on momentum. But it's an EA that I can't backtest, basically. So the reason I'm doing this on this account now, I'm hoping it's not going to screw up the evaluation, but I'm going to run it today and see what happens. Yeah, the idea of it is it will it trades on momentum. So when it sees fast movement within 10 seconds, when we're seeing volume and momentum entering the market within 10 seconds, it starts to scalp very quickly with a trailer, a very tiny little trailer on it, like a 2-pip trailer. So the idea is when momentum starts, we tend to get a little bit of a pullback and a push. So what it does is it basically gets into a trade with a tight stop on it, and it plays off the back of that momentum continuing. And I'm only looking for 5-10 pips out of the market, maybe, but just grabbing little bits and pieces. You can see it will stop out and it will take little losses along the way. But every now and again, you get these big momentum pushes where you get a move like that. You'll get in there and you'll get out there with $300 to $500. That's what it's planned to do, and then it automatically turns itself off when it hits $500. So the idea is it's designed and built to try and pass valuations in 5 days, scalping $500 a day basically. But anyway, it's an experiment, so it might completely cock this account up. Anyway, I've got to run it on something. I need it running on a live account. So use the H1 yeah, so basically the EA is running on H1M5, but it's not really even doing that actually. The EA that I've got running on the evaluation account is actually just running on M5, so it's an M5 mean reversion strategy. So all it's doing is whenever we get an M5 extension on RSI, it's starting to trade. Yeah. But it's got directional bias, obviously. So this is only taking shorts. I'm only taking shorts on the EuroCAD. Hence it didn't take that long there. Yeah. So this set file that I've got running on here is literally just looking at M5 mean reversion. So it just takes reversal alerts without a stop, obviously, because it's position trading. And the only filter it's using is the RSI 21, 70, 30 on the M5 time frame. That's it. And in effect, what it's doing is it's also using the moving average. So I haven't set the moving average on here because I'm doing it manually. But obviously, if something's in a downtrend on the daily, I'm not taking longs, I'm taking shorts. Right. Anyway, so that's what that's doing. So I'm just watching. I'm curious as to how this is going to work today. I shouldn't really do it on this account, should I? It's a bit naughty, but so I'm just watching watching it on the other chart. Anyway, so that's where I am at the moment on that evaluation phase 2. Friday last week on my main account, banked 2.69%. Big day Friday. Bank loads and loads. I'll just run through the trades from Friday, mostly oil. So you can see them on here actually on oil. So I did some drawdown control on oil, just scaling out of the positions a little bit. So these were 0.8s. So I just took 0.2s off just to release a little bit of pressure. We had an up day. We gapped up and then we pushed down at the end of the day. So basically, as we started to push down, I thought, well, if we are going to have any news over the weekend that's going to gap us, I just want to release a little bit of pressure. So I took 0.6 off oil. The DAX, a couple of trades on the DAX. There, we've got those shorts there. which I took off on the DAX. I've still got one short on the DAX at the minute. Did I close out? Second. US dollar Swiss. Can't remember now. Loads. Yeah, so I did drawdown control on US dollar Swiss. So I had that nice aggressive drawdown control position which came off there, and then I decided to do some aggressive drawdown control on the lower positions down there. So where these were all sort of 0.28s and things, these are all now down to 0.1s, 0.15s, 0.1s, and obviously I've got normal size positioning on up there. And Euro New Zealand, kind of quite a lot actually, didn't I, on Friday? So took a load of Euro New Zealand's off. So that was these positions on Euro New Zealand, came off there and did 2 drawdown controls on those as well. So where these were 0.26s, these are now 0.13s. Again, the only reason I've taken these off, I still like this short, but the only reason I've taken these off is because I just want to reduce risk on the euro in case this pushes up until Wednesday, Thursday. I just want to make sure that I've got a little bit less position sizing on this. If it does get up to sort of 100, 150 ADR and they go for liquidity up at these highs, I just want to make sure that I've got a little bit less on it, that's all. I'm not particularly worried about it, I'm just not going to over leverage myself. And the S&P, oh, I scalped the S&P, remember the news. There's a couple more oils and US dollar Swisses there as well. I took off. Oh yeah, that was that big US dollar Swiss one, wasn't it? Remember? Can't remember. Anyway. Oh yeah, that was that one up there. Sorry. Yeah, and the S&P, obviously, I scalped that on the news. Might be difficult to see this one. But this is the news, non-farm payroll. So I took that short there. And I took a short somewhere around there, down to there. So I took a couple of shorts. Anyway, 2 shorts played out, 1 short didn't. Overall net gain on them. So that was Friday. So a pretty good day Friday. I'm well ahead of the curve at the minute. Obviously my target is normally 10% a month. I've already banked 4 this month so far. So yeah, all going well. For the funded account test, how have you planned to keep drawdown manageable in such tight limits? I can't, is the honest answer, which is why I don't condone trying to position trade on funded accounts. Very, very difficult. The experiment, basically, the whole purpose of this, this is having a bad impact, this new EA. I might turn this off. Yeah, this is going to blow the account. Actually, let's see if we can get a decent profit back out of this one. Let's see if I'm just going to let the EA take one more trade. See if I can get that loss back, and then I might turn this off. I might set up a demo to run this on. But yeah, to answer the question, yeah, no, you can't control drawdown, can you? Of course you can't. The drawdown is depending on what the market does. So evaluations, I've got 5%. So if I hit 5%, I'm out. And that's it, end of story. So, but I wanted to run basically the market reverse alerts EA on a evaluation. Just to see if it can work. Basically, the way if you're new in here, Wilson, you won't know. But with position trading, obviously, you get into positions and you manage them with drawdown control, and you have no control over the market when the market moves and where it goes. Basically, obviously nobody has, otherwise we'd all be millionaires. Position trading is very, very, very difficult on tight margins, tight drawdowns. So I've been in situations in the live room where I've been up to 10 or 12% in drawdown, and then by the end of the day I've banked 3 to 4% and I've got 1% in drawdown. It happens very, 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 very quickly. This you can't control. This is the problem. So oh my god. Come on, DAX, let's push. Let's have a little long push, shall we? Hopefully we're going to make new highs on the DAX. If so, I'm going to close the EA down, I think, because that's going to make a massive profit. What's that? Oh no, it's selling. Oh my god. I've just realised what the problem with that EA is. That's good. The whole point of me live testing this new EA was to identify issues with it, and I've identified an issue with it. I can see where that's going wrong now. Good. Yeah, so you can't control drawdown. What I've been doing basically on the first stage of the evaluation, I got up to nearly 5%. So I had to close out a load of positions with a loss and take a big loss day. And that's just something you have to do. But you can't control drawdown. You know, it's very difficult to trade a prop firm account where they put a 5% limit on you. You know, I keep saying this over and over again. It doesn't matter if you use a stop or you don't use a stop with a prop firm. Prop firms are designed to fund you if you're having a lucky week, fortnight, month, quarter, basically. So that's how they work. So you will have a strike rate in your system, and let's say you use a stop loss. So you get in with a 1 to 5, 1.5 to 1 risk reward on a trade. And if you've got a 50% strike rate on that strategy, that's fantastic. But what you can't control is when those losses come. So you'll do an evaluation and your 50% strike rate will play out perfectly. And what will happen is you'll have trades that go like that and your equity curve looks beautiful. And then you'll get to there and you'll get funded. And then the next week, you'll have a 50% strike rate. But the problem is you'll have 6 losing trades in a row and you'll hit the drawdown limit, blow the account, and then the next 5 trades would have been beautiful profits and made you a profit up to there. Prop firms know this. Yeah, doesn't matter. The best trader in the world with an 80% strike rate on their strategy, which doesn't really exist, but if that person existed, they will still have a losing run of 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 trades. That losing run will blow your funded account or your evaluation. Yeah. So, you know, 5%, they know there is no trader in the world that does not have a 5% drawdown at some point in the month. Everybody does. Doesn't matter if you return 50%, 10%, 5%, whatever you return on your account a month, you will have a point where you hit 5%. Everybody does. If you don't have one this month, you will do next month. So you'll get through your evaluation, fantastic, you get funded, and then what happens the next month? You don't get paid for at least, and this is the thing you need to understand about the prop firms. They won't pay you for 2 to 4 weeks, yeah? They know that some point within that 2 to 4 weeks, if you've had a 4-week run where you've managed to get through without 5% drawdown, there's a good chance in the next 2 to 4 weeks you're going to hit it. Yeah, and that's where they get you. So the answer is you can't control it. But I just wanted to show how the EA works on an account when you're going funded. You know, you can just about squeeze it through, but for long term, I don't think it's viable. But I just thought I'll spend $300 and we'll do it live. Unfortunately, I seem to be cocking it up now. I'm going to stop that EA. I'm just going to turn that off. Oh. I'll run it on another account. I'll doubt that back in a minute. Right, anyway, we've been talking about other stuff. You have 60 days to get 5%, yeah. Morning, Neo. Morning, Sammy. Right, so let's do some analysis. ADR-wise, nothing today, nothing on the weeklies, and nothing on the monthlies. Obviously, it's the 5th of the month. We're going to be trading a couple of days, so there's nothing on the monthlies. No ADR hits overnight, and obviously nothing's at the weekly because it's Monday. RSIs, very little extended on RSI at the moment. We've got the pound CAD extended to the downside, so very nice extension down there. Obviously, this is massive counter trend trade if you're taking this long. It is very nicely extended, and if you look at all the previous extensions we've had at this sort of level, we get a little bit of a pullback. Yeah, we didn't get one there actually. You got a spike, so you had to be watching. If you missed that exit in that hour or that hour, you're stuffed. So yeah, counter trend. I'm not interested in counter trending the pound at the minute. Pound is a short. This is a much bigger drop than normal, but if you look at that type of drop that we had there, we had a gradual grind down, fairly big drop there with a nice pullback on that one as well. So it's a 50-50 shot. You're either going to get that profit take move back to somewhere like there or there, or you're not. You're just going to get an accumulation drop. So not really interested in long on the pound CAD. Very extended, nicely extended, but on M5, it's a good scalping opportunity on M5, but other than that, I wouldn't really be interested. Pound US dollar, same story. Not longing the pound against the US dollar. We've had a gap down on the pound as well. We've got the announcement at 12:30 of the new Prime Minister, which is going to be Liz Truss. So I don't really think the market's going to react to that. It might get a little bit of a spike as people are, manipulating it, but it's got absolutely no bearing on financial policy, who's running this country. It's got nothing to do with the Prime Minister, so doesn't matter who gets in. Very extended, and again, just look at the trend on it. You don't want to be longing it at the moment. There's no fundamental reason why the pound will be strengthening. And at the moment, there's no fundamental reason why the US dollar should be weakening to such an extent that it becomes weaker than the pound and lets the pound US go up. So shorts on that one, looking for opportunities to get in, but haven't found anything, so just not trading it in a minute. US dollar yen. This got very extended, so we got that breakout, which held nicely, and we've just sat in an accumulation at the moment. Extended and embedded. We have got divergence just about on RSI on the 4 hour, so it's likely to come down a little bit, but look at what you got last time. Yeah, it's not massively an opportunity unless you are feeling very brave. I mean, do you want to be fighting that? No, not really. I want to be getting in long somewhere down here. So waiting basically on that one. It may come down, may not. US dollar news wise, obviously it's the bank holiday today in the US, so there's not going to be a lot of movement this afternoon. News wise, we've got PMI on the US dollar tomorrow. We've got a couple of talking heads. We've got Powell speaking after the ECB press conference, and that's about it for news. So there's very, very light news on the US this week. So I can't see the US really powering up or weakening in any shape or form. So it really will depend what happens with the yen, I think, as to what happens with the US dollar yen this week. I can't see any reason unless Kuroda comes out and says something why the yen is suddenly going to power up and push this back down again. So for me, it's still a long, but I'm not going to get in long when it's sitting up here. I'll just ignore. So nothing of interest at all on the US dollar yen either. Diamond, I'm at 7% on your evaluation. 4 days left. Good man. Oh, blimey. DAX just came down really hard. What do we make of that? Quite like that as a short. I might just try and scalp back this 1.4%. Okay, going to try and just grab a move down into this propulsion gap down there. I'll keep an eye on that. So yeah, so that's your, sorry, RSI's getting distracted. That's your RSI's on the 4 hour. There's nothing extended on the hourly. So this, I've got my RSI dashboard split into 4 hour and 1 hour, just so I can see initial extensions. So nothing on the hourlies at all at the moment, all nice and flat. So we'll have a rundown of all the pairs and instruments and have a look at everything. You've got 4 days left, Diamond, on yours with 1% to go. How much drawdown have you got, or any? Get that extension. Just about to go short one on DAX. Not quite. I might want to pull back up a little bit more in there. So this move here was a gap fill basically this morning. That's your gap fill. Done. So floodgates are open for a move down, which we will have a look at now. So indices, obviously DAX is a big short. We had a lovely day Friday. Big hammer put in, big shooting star on Friday. Looked like we were going to pause on Thursday after the initial start of the move, and we basically have carried on, which is lovely. So looking for continuation shorts on the DAX at the moment. All the indices are looking the same. So we've got this, whoops, I haven't got much data on DAX for some reason. So nice big downtrend obviously on the DAX. We had this double bottom put in, so we're now basically just sort of contracting, ready to break out to the downside. How fast that's going to happen, difficult to tell, but the last couple of sell-offs we've had have happened over a matter of a couple of weeks. So I can see this coming back down to at least retest these lows at some point this week, quite possibly today. We might well make it down to there today. That's going to be the real interesting point. There's going to be a lot of limit orders sitting down there ready to trigger long. Equally, there is a lot of selling pressure at the moment, so there's a good chance that anybody that gets into buys here is going to be overpowered and they're going to puke and add to this move to the downside. So I get the feeling we may well see a decent break, but equally we could just hit the lows and accumulate for a little bit before dropping down again. So that's looking nice for shorts. I've got that one position on at the moment. If we do a pullback, I will just obviously scale in a couple. You know, we may well pull back to the 24.72 area before we drop again as well. So especially if we get to here, we might get that bounce, which pulls us back for the next leg down. So, but this position here, I will be taking off at the lows regardless. In fact, I'm going to put TP on that now, just in case I'm not paying attention. So if we get down to ADR, round about ADR today, I'll be taking that one off anyway with about 0.75%. In the other indices, obviously, all the same. So target is pre-COVID on the other indices. Apart from the Dow, which has kind of already done it, but so yeah, so we've still got plenty of downside. Obviously, the market structure is very, very nice for a continuation short. Yeah, just looking for short opportunities on it really. We had a nice down day on Friday, nice bearish engulfing, swept the highs, took all the liquidity, and potentially we didn't quite get a new low on the Nasdaq, but hopefully today we got a lot further to go on those other instruments as well. You know, we've got a good sort of 3 or 4 ADR move to the downside, whereas on the DAX we've only got literally half an ADR before we're challenging these lows. So be interesting to see what happens with these, but yeah, it's just looking for short opportunities on all indices. I'm only trading the DAX at the moment. I'm not trading the S&P or the Nasdaq. I'm scalping them, but I'm not position trading. I'm just position trading the DAX. So if you wanted to position trade any of these, just make sure you're spacing out a good half an ADR to an ADR apart, and just getting on each of these legs every time we pull back, getting on the leg. All looking good. Oil. So oil, we should be getting some decent movement today. We've had this nice bounce off the lows last week. So yeah, looking basically for a big strong push today, and obviously I think we'll probably get an ADR hit today, possibly even 150, maybe even more, depends what comes out of OPEC. But with the OPEC meetings going on today, I think there will be sustained buying on oil ahead of that, with speculators getting in, assuming that they are going to do what they said they're going to do, which is cap production and freeze production, which should drive prices higher. But over the last few weeks, we've seen some weird things coming out of OPEC, haven't we? They have changed their mind and done a U-turn. 24 hours later, they've said something, and they've come out and said, actually, nah, we're not going to do that. So again, this is all speculation at the moment. But if they do come out and cap production, then obviously we're going to see some spikes. So looking for long opportunities on oil. I've been buying oil constantly since 95 a barrel, really. I've just been buying this thing up and exiting every spike. Yeah, and I'm doing exactly the same. So 85 a barrel, I think, is the low. I don't think we're going to drop below 85, especially now with what's going on with OPEC and the production being halted in Russia because of the leak. You know, the less they produce and the more the supply keeps dwindling each week, it can only be good for pricing because demand is not dropping. And in fact, demand in China is expected to increase by 150% over the next couple of years. So I think we should be seeing some new highs at some point. But right now, I think we're right at the very, very lows. So buying oil. Gold I don't trade, but it's obviously a short at the minute. Don't forget, this is just across with the US dollar, so you are in the hands of what happens with the US dollar. It does move on its own, but the US dollar is obviously one of the primary drivers of gold. With Russia having the stockpiles at the moment and the export ban, it means that we're not getting any Russian oil, Russian gold, or oil, or anything actually. So yeah, we're stuck with gold at the minute. I don't think it's going to potentially go either way very, very quickly at the moment. But I would obviously at the moment be inclined to be more short than long on it. So looking for short opportunities up at highs and keep shorting the highs basically when we get anywhere. Hourly is probably a good time frame to look at on this. You had an opportunity there last week. Last one was there. So yeah, it's giving lots of opportunities for shorting, but it's not something I trade. So right, let's whiz through all the FX pairs. If anybody's got anything specific they want me to look at or concentrate on, or they're in or worried about, let me know, and I'll cover it in a bit more detail. Diamond, only 1.6% drawdown, but only have 2 trades open: oil and an Aussie New Zealand long. EA got me in too early on oil. Yeah, should be all right with oil today. Yeah, and you've only got 1% to go. Yes, I mean, you could easily get a 2.6% shift in your drawdown today, especially with oil. That's not undoable at all. I can see that going positive today. Look at where my average is on it. Yeah, if we get an ADR hit today, that 1.4 is gone and is in positive territory. So I reckon you got a good chance over the next couple of days of hitting that. Euro odd. Okay, we'll have a look at that as well. Right, starting at the top. Aussie CAD. So I'm not going to go through massive detail on these. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just going to get into a position on short and DAX. So we've put in a double top. We put in a new lower, higher low on that move down, but it was only just. I fancy DAX short after this gap fill. So I'm looking for them to come down basically and possibly trade into this gap. So short one. And I'm adding on down here. In fact, I might move one of those up a little bit. Actually, no, I'll leave that one running. I'll just keep an eye on that on my other. Right. So Aussie CAD, I'm not going to do a massive in-depth into all of them because we haven't had, last week we haven't gone anywhere on a lot of stuff. So it's pretty much business as usual on but I'll look at where we are. Odd CAD, Canadian dollar should be strengthening, especially this week. I'm not looking to take an awful lot on this week, to be honest, because we've got so much news, which could potentially fly either way. But CAD overnight rate is going to be changing by 0.75 at minimum. We've got a 0.5 on the Aussie. So Aussie dollar CAD tomorrow and Wednesday, no idea. Neither is the market. Yeah, look at what the market's been doing for the last week or so. It's just gone sideways for 2 weeks basically because they know that there's big rate changes coming up and nobody's putting any speculative money on in any direction. So at the minute we're sitting there accumulated, no idea which way it's going to go. So Aussie CAD is one of those pairs, if you get onto it in any direction this week, you just have to hold on tight. I get the feeling the Canadian dollar is going to strengthen. I also get the feeling that the Aussie dollar is going to strengthen, and obviously strength against strength means accumulation. So I think probably if those rate announcements are accurate and that's what we're going to get, you've got a very good chance of getting any direction you like, and you'll get an exit at some point because we're going to get some whipsaws and some spikes on those rate announcements, especially the Aussie dollar where the liquidity is going to be light in Asia. So Aussie dollar CAD, yeah, I mean, if you take a trade on it, you're gambling because we are sideways flat. The RSI's, the moving average is pretty flat. RSI's stuck flat in the middle. We've been in an accumulation. Take your pick. Not really interested in trading that one at the moment. There's no opportunities apart from, get in and hold on tight and fingers crossed. Aussie dollar Swiss, same thing. Aussie dollar Swiss has got stuck since the Swiss rate announcement and the increase in the power that we had at that rate announcement. We've gone sideways on this one. Swiss franc hasn't been particularly strong. It has had moments where we've seen signs of strength coming through on the Aussie, but it really backed off after that announcement. I think mainly waiting for the euro because obviously Euro Swiss is a partners in crime. So what happens to one tends to affect the other. We've got no movement on this one. So literally it's shorting the highs and longing the lows at the moment, but that's going to be changing tomorrow morning, potentially. So we'll see. But right now, if you're getting into anything on the Aussie, you are literally gambling because obviously we don't know which way it's going to go tomorrow. But I suspect we will probably get a bullish move out of it because they are increasing their rates, which is a positive sign. Let's just have a quick look at what the previous were. Right, 5 years. So they're literally just going 0.5%. I reckon that is probably going to come out as expected at 2.35. If it comes out any more than 2.35, yeah, we're going to get a movement to the upside on the Aussie. But I think we'll probably get a movement to the upside on the Aussie anyway. But at the moment, you can see obviously the market's just not interested in doing anything speculative until that announcement comes out. So longs, but you know, flatlined, moving averages are sideways. We're not going anywhere. Nothing's moving. So if you're taking a go on this, you know, you're taking a trade bang in the middle of a range, which is always a hideous place to trade from. And you got 50-50 shot tomorrow morning. Aussie dollar yen, prefer longs. So this is not a bad looking long opportunity. If we had pulled back and we were deeper on this, I'd be interested. Where we are at the moment though, I'm not really interested at all in it at all. It's just sideways. All these Aussies are. So again, no real opportunities on the Aussie. Aussie New Zealand long. So I quite like this one where it is now actually. Got no New Zealand news. GDP next week. That's it. So Aussie New Zealand I like as a long. I've been longing this for the last month. Basically every pullback I've taken long, got out just as it moved, started longing it here, got out just as it moved. I like it long again. Aussie New Zealand is one of those pairs where, you know, when you have one in control, you tend to get a beautiful trend on it. And it really depends on the rate and what is going on with that particular economy, that particular country. So this is a really nice looking long opportunity at the moment. It's not quite extended on the hourly, on 4 hourly rather. On the hourly, we had an extension on Friday, which is just pulling back into now. So I like this one as a long opportunity, potentially from here. Yeah, Shalk, the interest rate is tomorrow morning. So yeah, I like this as a long at the moment. It's a risky one because obviously we don't know what's going to happen with the rate tomorrow. Likelihood is we'll get some bullish movement out of it. So I might put the EA on this one actually. It's probably not going to get me on. It will get me on NN5. So yeah, I've already got one New Zealand long on, so I'm hedging myself on that, aren't I? Do I want to hedge on that against the euro? I'm not going to take this. I'm. Oh, sorry. Get out of the way. I like this long. Under any other. Wait 1 second. Let me just get rid of this bot. Any other time, I would take an Aussie New Zealand long here. The only reason I'm hesitating, and I'm not going to do it right now, is because I have got exposure long on the New Zealand dollar at the moment. So if I take an Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar long trade, I'm going to be shorting the New Zealand dollar. Yeah, I'm long New Zealand, so that's going to hedge me. This Euro New Zealand, potentially, I could be out of this today. If that's the case, then I might take that Aussie New Zealand long. I will see. But if you like it, take it. I like it as a long. It's not in a bad spot down here at the 24. We've got a nice support resistance area here that we're potentially going to be looking for. Well, we have had a bounce on it already. if we get any further move to the downside, it's going to be in the sweet spot on the 4-hour, ready for a long anyway. So I like this as a long. I get a good feeling about the Aussie dollar tomorrow. I think we're going to get a decent rate announcement. So yeah, all looking good. Let me just 3 short now on DAX. I'm just going to keep an eye on this because obviously, what am I looking for on it? 1.4. I want to see if it holds this break. We've got 2.5 minutes left on this candle. I want to see it hold that low. So yeah, Aussie, I like this as a long. I'm not going to take it because it's just not, it doesn't fit my portfolio at the moment with the New Zealand dollar. But if you like it, take it. I like it. So good looking long opportunity. Aussie US is a short. At the moment, doesn't mean it's not going to push on the rate announcement tomorrow morning. Just obviously, when the US dollar powers up on any US dollar news, it will beat back down. This has had some lovely pullbacks, some lovely market structure. So I really like this as a short, but that's where we were shorting it up here. And you know, I'm waiting for some pullback up there. Depending on what happens with the Aussie dollar, we may well get a nice pullback up into the 24.72 area, in which case then I might look for some shorts out of it there on the hourly. If we get some decent movement up to there, somewhere in here, I might look to short it, but not right now down there. CAD Swiss, sideways, just a sideways mess. Canadian dollar strong on oil. If oil pushes even more, we're going to get some more strength on the Canadian dollar. The Swiss franc is also a long based on the rate announcement. So you know, after that drop, we've just gone into an accumulation. So this is a difficult one to trade because it's a long against a long, and that tends to give you a range, which is what we've got. So it's a very wide range. So any opportunities to get in on this one obviously will be somewhere within the range. So if we get up to there, if we get any ADR hits to the upside on it, I'll be looking to short it. I'd be less inclined to long down here, just because it is harder work going long than it is going short. We fall down the elevator shaft and we climb up the stairs, as I keep saying. So I'd be much more inclined to short it. This isn't actually a bad spot. You've got quite a bit of room, a couple of ADR up to the highs. So if this can keep moving this week, I'd be looking for some short opportunities potentially on this one. But right now, it's just not in the right spot. CAD yen, like as a long, haven't managed to get into it. I took the Swiss yen long on this move here. CAD yen I would have taken as well. You don't take both, but they both did the same thing. So looking for long opportunities on any kind of pullback, which we're just not getting. This thing's been in a very, very slow upward grind for ages. So bear with me one sec. Get ready to close this out. So that 1.2, and I haven't got to concentrate on it anymore. Okay, so that's pretty much EA loss back. Right. Carry on. CAD yen. So yeah, like it long. Don't like it long up there. Like it long somewhere down here. So any hits to the downside on ADR and that potentially be good. Swiss yen, same thing. We are just sideways on this thing. We're getting stuck, really getting stuck here. So we've had our third tap now. Next time we tap that, we're off, I think. If we tap it, we may not. But I like everything long against the yen. The yen fundamentally is a short. They are in massive trouble with their finances, their banking policies rubbish, and the currency is obviously, you do not want to be taking shorts on this. So any opportunities to get in long, some people like to take breakouts. I like to take pullbacks. If you want to take a breakout there, highly likely it's going to work. I'd much rather be getting in long down here when we're extended, ready for people to start that next leg up. So not really any opportunities at the moment. Hasn't been for ages on this. It's just been kind of sideways, since the beginning of last month. It's just not great. Euro odd short. So again, obviously this is a short at the moment. It's a scrappy one. So again, euro odd, same as Aussie dollar CAD. That's just coming down again. So there's my TPs. Just watching this propulsion gap. Going to have a load of potential buyers sitting in here. So hence me getting out of it with 1.2. Just wanted to get that in the bank, because if we don't hit my TP and then the buyers step in here, this thing's, there you go, would have hit my TP, but this thing's got a pullback all the way up to there. That's the only reason I got out of it. So potentially a nice little long opportunity on a pullback, although I'd rather get in short up there. The best thing to do. Euro odd. So yeah, this one again, suicide, taking a trade on the euro odd today with this week. So Australian dollar tomorrow, and then euro on Thursday. So if you're going to take a trade on the euro odd, you are literally taking a gamble on this one. So the probability or the possibility this week is tomorrow we get a push down and potentially a tank, and then on Thursday we get a push back up on euro. So it could go either way. If they come out tomorrow and don't increase it by as much as you thought, the Australian, this could go up, and then on Thursday we could have a pump. We could be all the way up here by the end of the week. No idea. So euro odd, it's very, very risky taking any kind of trade on this one at the minute. We have just taken out the liquidity up here last week, and this is exactly where I would be looking to short it. Euro odd. I'm in Euro New Zealand, so I mean basically the same thing. Euro New Zealand I'm short, and it's the same as the euro odd, basically same thing. So yeah, I like it still as a short right now. Tomorrow I've no idea what I'm going to like it as. We'll see. German PMI has just come out as positive, in case you're wondering. Oh, sorry, negative. Oh, yeah, services. Oh, no, negative, sorry. Interesting. So, yeah, euro odd. It's a short for me. That was the entry on this one last week. And as I say, I took the Euro New Zealand version of it up here. So I've been scaling out of it as it's been coming down. It's obviously pulling back at the moment. We've had a lovely big drop, so we expect to pull back on this and then hopefully a move down this afternoon or stroke tomorrow. But New Zealand dollar, if you're in Euro New Zealand with me as well, we are going to get affected tomorrow by the New Zealand dollar. The New Zealand dollar will move on the Australian rates. Because these two guys are very close trade partners, Aussie and New Zealand, obviously, so they do get affected by each other's news. So we might see some strength coming through on the New Zealand dollar tomorrow morning, along with the Aussie dollar, which is perfect because obviously that's going to drive Euro New Zealand down, which is exactly what we want. So either way, tomorrow on either of these, assuming we get good news, if the market basically, what's going to happen is that either the market is going to see the rate as expected and go, yep, that's good, or it's going to see an increase in that rate and go, that's fantastic, or it's factored it in and it's going to come out as expected and go absolutely nowhere. So either way, we should, unless they do anything stupid like don't put it up by 0.5%, in which case then, yeah, we're in a bit of trouble. But we should see some positive movement across the Australasian pairs in the morning. Euro CAD short based on Canadian dollar strength. You see I've been shorting this one when we got extended. I'm out of it at the moment, and it's come down really hard. I'm not being too risky with euro at the minute, obviously ahead of the rate announcement. So after tomorrow, after Thursday rather, I'll be a little bit more loose on my euro policy and get into some more euros. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to be short or long yet. You know, I might be for the first time in 2 years turning around next week and saying, right, long everything euro. Be very weird to say that because I haven't said it for years, but at some point monetary policy will shift and this will become a long at some point. Don't know when, but right now I'm still short on it because I'm long on the CAD and I'm short on the euro. So shorts not down here. No entries on that one really. Lovely gap fill just been played out on the euro CAD. So good gap fill scalp there. DAX is just pulling back for those interested. So we've got the gap fill and the buyers have stepped in. So we should see a little bit of a push potentially the next 15 minutes, half an hour. So yeah, Euro CAD, like it as a short still. Euro Swiss still a short at the moment. And again, I'm not taking any euro this week anymore. I've got Euro New Zealand on. I'm not going to take any more risk on euro ahead of the news because obviously I want to see what happens with the news first. I'm hoping that they will actually pump it and we will get some positive change on the euro, but we will see. If the market basically tanks on the news, then we know that this was just factored in and they're still not happy with the increase, in which case then it's a euro short for the next month. Swiss franc is obviously strong based on their rate announcement, has been ever since. This was the euro speculation, so this is actually in the spot where you would want to be selling it. But as I say, I'm taking €1 short. I'm not overexposing myself on the euro. I'm not overexposing myself on anything at the moment. I'm just being uber cautious at the moment, but uber cautious on everything short. Euro pound, very difficult to trade the euro pound. The ADR is awful, always is. It's always very sideways, very choppy because the euro and the pound are main trade partners, and we like to keep our currencies very aligned. So where we are at the moment is normally where I would say let's start looking for shorts. Obviously at the moment, because of the euro rate announcement, it's very difficult to say what we should be doing with anything to do with the euro. So it's a very, very good looking short opportunity with potentially reversal alert about to kick in on the 4 hour. Hourly, you've just had one nice M pattern reversal. Look at the liquidity on Friday of Thursday's high. If we can break that low, we just had the retest on this. If we can break that low, potentially opens the floodgates for a move to the downside. But obviously this is all ahead of Thursday. So we've got light trading today because the US is shut. So literally we've got Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday all hell's going to break loose. So just not really worth getting into any euros, I don't think, at the moment, until we know what the monetary policy is going to be moving forward. Euro yen, very weak long. In fact, right now it's a very good long because potentially we've got some euro strength coming, and if that happens, the yen's just going to against the euro. So it's a good looking long opportunity, just no opportunities to get in. The entries were back here. As you say, I took the Swiss version of this rather than the euro. But yeah, like it long still, euro and yen, everything long against the yen until Kuroda comes out and says something otherwise. We should be longing everything against the yen. It's just not moving very far at the moment because the yen is literally not strong or weak. It's just completely neutral. So the other currency is what's driving every yen pair at the moment. If the euro powers up, euro yen goes up. If the euro weakens, euro yen goes down. The yen is just sitting there kind of flatlined at the moment on life support. So it will be pushed around by the other currency. Hence, euro New Zealand, hopefully tomorrow, it gets pushed around to the downside. Yeah, a very interesting week, Wilson. Big week. So yeah, shorts on the euro New Zealand at the moment. We're having a little bit of a push up this morning during London. Just pushed up back up to the Asian highs. Asian range, just pay attention to the Asian range today on all pairs, because obviously we've got no New York session this afternoon. So whatever manipulation the banks are doing, they're going to do it in London. There's quite a high probability of a London reversal this afternoon. So as we get to sort of lunchtime, 1 o'clock, there's a good chance that we might have already put in the moves for the day, in which case they may all fade. If anything was to hit ADR today, I think it'd be a lovely fade opportunity this afternoon, but at the moment it doesn't look like anything's getting anywhere near ADRs. There's nothing anywhere near at the minute. New Zealand is close-ish. New Zealand had nothing. So yeah, it's probably really quite a quiet day today. As I say, you know, with this amount of news, yeah, any speculator or any hedge fund worth their salt is not going to be putting masses and masses of risk on the table ahead of 3 major rate announcements. You know, no one's going to be putting the mortgage on anything until they know which way these are likely to be going over the next month, because these are key. And for having 3 in 1 week is, you know, it's just it's like a triple witching of rates. It's a big one. So, you know, as I'm doing, I'm not interested in putting a load of risk on at the minute. But managing the risk that I'm in, and I'm in Euro New Zealand short. So I will be adding to that one. If we push anywhere near ADR today, I'll be taking another short on that. Euro US dollar, same thing. It's a short at the moment, based on US dollar neutrally slightly strong and euro weakness. But obviously that's going to change potentially. So really interesting level we've just taken out on euro US dollar down here. Okay, so we've got parity here, the one. Yeah. And as you can see what happened last time when we hit parity, we bounced. We broke down below it convincingly as well. We didn't just break below it, we slammed through it and then stopped down here. And ever since we got down there, the market has just gone sideways. Anybody that's entered long was taken out this morning. All the liquidity from any long positions there is gone, which kind of indicates that the banks might be getting ready for a move to the upside, possibly. So again, this is all up until Thursday. So I think what we're going to see in the next couple of days is sort of a midline movement back to here, back to parity, and then we're going to go from there. So your guess is as good as mine on this one. It could go either way. Really could go either way on Thursday. So, you know, if you like high risk trades, the euro, any of these, the Aussie, the euro, the Canadian dollar, you can take any of them this week. But what you want to be doing is looking at higher time frames. Look at the H4 time frame, look at the hourly time frame, and say, right, they've just done a liquidity run on that low. We think that the euro rate has got a potential to go up 1.5%. They're forecasting 0.75. There's been talk of 1.5. So if that happens, we're going to get a massive spike on the euro. Take a long right now and stick a stop under there. If that stop doesn't get taken out in the next 2 days, you could find yourself up there on Friday. Beautiful. I mean, the risk reward 10 to 1, easy. It probably gets stopped out, but then get back in again. Have 2 or 3 cracks at it if you want. If that's the sort of trading you want to do, these sorts of trades where you've got these rate announcements, those are the ones where you can get in now. Let's say, for example, they put it up to 1.5 instead of 0.75 on Thursday, yeah? So we end up sitting on 1.75 for the euro. This could potentially be the low of the year. If they put that rate up more than expected, the market goes, finally, some progress on the euro, and they go long on it. This could be your low of the year, just below parity. Yeah. You could hold that till Christmas, in theory. Same with the Australian dollar. Any of these Aussies, you know, Aussie Swiss, not so much probably. But any of these Aussies, like Aussie New Zealand, if they come out much bigger on the rates on that, we could be looking at a good sustained break of that high, 2, 3, 4 ADR move to the upside over the next few weeks. So, you know, any of these you can take really with stops, and you could potentially have a huge trade on your hands. It's not how I do it, but equally, you could take that trade and they come out as expected. The market goes, yeah, told you so. They still have got no commitment to their long-term policy, and boom, that thing just collapses. And we find ourselves in absolute no man's land. We've got to go back to a weekly chart to find out where we're next stopping. Yeah. That could be next stop if they don't do anything decent with the euro rate. Look at the speed it's come down. Yeah. If they don't impress the market on Thursday, there's no reason why that is going to stop doing that. So what I mean, if you're going to take a position trade on this now, that's not the right play. Use a stop, because if this is going to continue like this, you've really got to be on the ball to get out on these tight pullbacks. Yeah, counter trend. I'd much rather we got that sort of movement. So what I would rather see is the rate announcement comes out at 0.75. We get a euro pump up to somewhere like this. I'm going to short it up there, because the market's not going to be impressed with 0.75, I don't think. But we'll see. But yeah, so yeah, just euro, you know, euro CAD and Australian dollar, and potentially New Zealand dollar based on the Australian rate announcement. Everything this week is just like, really hold on. Maybe brave to bet against the dollar. Yeah, I think the policy, the US is always the first to go into recession, and the US is always the worst. I say that, pound is not far off this time around, but and they are always usually the worst. It's the biggest economy, therefore it gets hit the hardest. When things go right, they make a load of money. When things go wrong, they really, really suffer. We haven't even got into recession yet. Yeah, so we've got years of this coming. So I like the US dollar at the moment more than the euro. If the euro gets on top of rates and we start to see their inflation figures starting to flatten out, and the US dollar doesn't get on top of rates and we see their inflation figures overtake, this thing's going to go like that. And this is what I mean. You could be looking at the low of the year here. You could be looking at the low of the decade. We don't know what's coming around the corner. Yeah, COVID 2.0, no idea. World War III, China. There's all sorts of stuff that can happen. We can't control any of it at the end of the day, can we? But US has always been the strong boy, because we've always been in a time where economies have been rolling on nicely, everything's been okay, and everybody's been happy. We're not happy at the moment. Economies are not good at the moment. We're still not recovering from COVID. So, you know, this is the sort of downturn we see once in a generation potentially coming. Yeah, look, the last time the stock markets did this. Doesn't happen very often, does it? Yeah. The stock market does not do this very often. Look at COVID. It was twice the size of the last pullback. Look at where we are now. Yeah, we're not even in recession yet. The US dollar's not a happy bunny at the moment. So So the euro has, in my opinion, at the moment, got more chance, depending on what they do with those rates on Thursday, of becoming stronger than the US for potentially mid to long term, certainly short term. But again, if they don't do anything special with it, there's no reason why it will, and in which case then it's business as usual. Until the US dollar, until we have the next FOMC and the US dollar goes, really sorry guys, we're screwed. You know, it's my opinion on everything, short everything at the minute. I'm really not interested in longing much at all. Everything's stuffed, isn't it? It's just the game at the moment with trading is who's the more stuffed. That's what you want to play. Who's the more stuffed? Yen, more stuffed than the US. Pound is more stuffed than the US at the moment, and the US is not quite as stuffed as the yen. You know, but if you think, is there a strong economy out there at the moment? No one's got a strong economy at the moment. Potentially Russia, because they are holding all the purse strings, but then we've screwed down on top of them and said we're not going to buy any of your gold, and they're like, all right, we're not going to buy any of your oil and all that sort of stuff. Oh, it's back again, look. God, these bots, they just never give up, do they? So yeah, anyway, so there's Euro US dollar. Again, you know, don't be surprised if you don't see me take any trades this week, because it's such a big week. From a position trading perspective, I'm not going to be interested in putting massive risk on anything euro, anything CAD, or anything Australian dollar. When you look at the list of pairs you can trade, that cuts an awful lot of opportunities out. So there's not a massive amount of opportunity that I've got, apart from indices and oil I can trade, and what I'm in, really. But everything else, if I'm taking risk on anything else at the moment, it is very much a gamble. So I'm not really interested in doing that. Pound odd, pounds are all shorts. So pound odd I really like as a short, if I could only get an entry on it. Just not given an entry for ages. Yeah, I get the feeling we're going to get that happening tomorrow morning. We just double bottomed there. It's you know, it's textbook plays. Yeah, just think, you know, what are all the novice traders doing right now? Everybody is piling in long, aren't they? Because there's a double bottom bounce. Yeah, where's everybody stops? Under the double bottom. What's going to happen with the Australian rate tomorrow? What's that going to do to the Australian dollar? What's pound odd going to do? Yeah, it's just textbook bank. Let's push it up and let everybody get in long on this thing, and then we'll come back and take all their money tomorrow. Yeah, pound, like it short, want it up here, don't want it down there. Pound CAD, same thing. Yeah, don't, you know, really not rocket science, is it? Yeah, shorts. When you get on shorts, on pullbacks, if it doesn't pull back, you know, after that move, you didn't get a pullback. It just carried on going. There's no way to get into it. Pound Swiss, same thing. We had a little bit of a range form, so you could have taken highs that you would have known that range is there until you got to there. So you could have started taking shorts there, but very hard to get into again. You know, just don't want to be longing anything down here. Pound yen, so it's looking for short opportunities and everything. Pound yen is the worst long of the time. You know, look at all the other yen pairs. Yeah, they're all making progress. Yeah, against the yen. Yeah, everything is making, but even the euro is making progress. Look at the pound yen. Shows you how weak the pound is. The yen is probably the weakest currency out there at the moment. The pound can't even beat the yen. It's utterly on its backside. So not interested in longs on anything to do with the pound. Shorts only. Just trying to find an opportunity. Yeah, pound New Zealand. That was the short. I got into the euro New Zealand version. Yeah. So you could have taken the pound New Zealand short. That was a lovely trade, which was 18th week before last. That was the short. And pound US, again, any pullbacks, looking for short opportunities, but not looking for longs. You've got to be very brave to be long in the pound at the minute. New Zealand dollar CAD. So New Zealand, we again, so, you know, for me at the moment, all of these pairs are off the table. Yeah, So I can't trade any of these pairs. So Swiss yen, pound Swiss and pound yen, US Swiss and US yen, and a pound US dollar. Okay. That's pretty much me at the minute, what I've got available to me, because they're not affected by rates this week. See how hard it is to get into any positions at the minute. But yeah, New Zealand dollar CAD, obviously we got rates with the Aussie dollar, which are going to affect the New Zealand potentially, and then we've got the CAD rates on Wednesday. So tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, and then on Thursday when the euro rate comes out, there's going to be a load of money dragged out of other currencies to put into the euro, in which case then these are all going to get affected again. You know, rate announcements don't just affect the currency that the rate's coming out on, they quite often will affect everything else. Because if I want to invest in the euro on Thursday, what have I got to do? Pull money out to put into my investment. Where am I going to get that from? Other things that I'm trading. So you find other currencies will suddenly start moving around because people want to pull money out and put it into the euro, and for the Australian dollar and for the Canadian dollar, etc. So you get volatility everywhere. But this is a short based on Canadian strength. With oil at the moment, we've not been seeing the strength in the Canadian dollar. Potentially that has got, especially after the OPEC meeting today, has got a good opportunity to switch. And obviously with the Canadian rates on Wednesday, you're going to see potentially a double bubble of long movement. Sorry, that's not right. Double bubble of long movement on the Canadian dollar, which means New Zealand CAD coming down. So shorts. But right now, where you are, it's just in an accumulation. So if you're short-term trading, if you're trading M5, you're looking at H1, those sorts of things, yeah, you can short anything up at the highs. So every time it pushes up, look for shorts, and you know you're going to get decent trades on lower time frames. As you know, I trade higher time frames. I'm looking for bigger swings and moves to position trade into, and this is not giving me any opportunity to get anywhere near where I want to be for a month now. So I like it short, but I'm not going to take a short just because I like it short. I want a reason to get in short. I want it to be extended so that I've got a reason for the market to pull back or reverse. New Zealand Swiss, same sort of thing. The Swiss franc is likely to get affected by the rate change on Thursday. So, you know, although I'm saying I can trade the Swiss franc, really it's going to get affected by the euro. So after the rate announcement on the Swissy, we had that tumble. And this is what I'm saying, yeah? You know, when this rate announcement comes out not as expected, that is the sort of thing that you're going to see happening to that currency after for the next few weeks. So if the euro comes out at 1.5%, it's not just going to spike on the day, it's potentially going to move for weeks or months. You do not want to be stuck the wrong side in a position trade on when that's happening. So just don't do it, don't get into them. Like it short, New Zealand dollar potentially affected by the Aussie rate announcement, Swiss affected by the euro rate announcement. At the moment, we are just sideways. I'd like to be looking for sell opportunities if we can get any pushes up to the upside. So potentially for me, this may be an entry tomorrow or Wednesday, because New Zealand dollar may well power up with the Aussie. If the Aussie does power up, which means that we might get some opportunities up here to get in ahead of the Swiss franc and euro announcement on Thursday. So potentially strength on euro and Australian dollar and New Zealand tomorrow, and then strength on Swiss franc and euro on Thursday. So just staying in the range, but you're just working the manipulations that the bank's doing. New Zealand dollar yen sideways, just not interested. New Zealand dollar US dollar, lovely little liquidity run down there, although there's probably not a massive amount of liquidity left in that. So double bottom bounce, potentially moves on the New Zealand dollar based on the Aussie up to there tomorrow. I'm interested in shorts still. Unless the Australian dollar, if they come out tomorrow with something like 2.85 or something, then yeah, we're going to see some decent strength on the Aussie and the New Zealand, I would suspect, because what the Aussie does, the New Zealand will tend to do as well. So the New Zealand, when they do their rates, will increase it by more than expected as well. So if we get that happening, we could get that sort of movement. If it's normal, if it's unexpected, we could get a new trend starting to the upside on it. But then by the time we get a movement up to where we want to get in short, we'll be having the US dollar rate announcement coming in. So difficult. But yeah, lovely double bottom bounce there. We had a reversal on M15 on Friday. We've got a gap fill in play at the moment. So nice looking long opportunity at the moment. US dollars, US dollar CAD, I took shorts on up at the highs. Yeah. So I remember I said I'm trading this one either direction. Any extensions on this? Looking to get in. If we get down to the lows, we're looking to get in because the Canadian dollar is strong. The US dollar strengthens up on news when it wants to. So you just get that manipulation. All you're doing is you're waiting for them to manipulate the market, and then you're getting out on their profit take, manipulation, profit take. So it's just a case of waiting for the next manipulation to happen. And in our case, it's on Wednesday. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday, and then there might be an opportunity to get in. So if the CAD powers up Wednesday, we'll be down here. I'll be looking for long opportunities on the next US dollar news, which will be on Thursday after the rate announcement. So Canadian dollar moving Wednesday, US dollar moving Thursday. US dollar Swiss, I've got a short on already. As you can see, I've been doing drawdown control on this one. So these lower down positions, I took some off of these because I was expecting a new leg down on Swiss franc strength. We haven't had the Swiss franc strength, and then we had some US dollar manipulation. So we're coming up to potential highs here. So got this area towards ADR, which we've tapped into a couple of times here. Look. So we are holding upper resistance, nicely extended, got extended and embedded there, which is where obviously I've been scaling in. So yeah, just waiting basically for some movement on this. US dollar, we haven't got any news early week, and obviously it's shut today. Swiss franc, nothing likely to be happening on the Swiss franc until Thursday with the euro announcement. So I get the feeling we might either go sideways or do a flag move on this. But I've not got much exposure down here on now because I scaled out on some of this with the profits on the other positions on Friday. So just reducing risk a little. I don't need, I only need an ADR push on this, and I'll be able to, get rid of most of this using that profit. So it's not massively extended, but equally, I'm not expecting to move an awful lot this week. But we will see. In US dollar yen, covered this one already. It's a rocket. Looking for long opportunities. It's extended on RSI on the daily. It's extended on RSI on the 4-hourly and embedded. We have got divergence now on it, but then again we had divergence there, and we just carried on pushing. So yen is just massively weak. So yeah, looking for some kind of move down to look for long opportunities on that one. I don't think we're going to get anything this week. So we might do on Thursday. We'll see. We've got PMI figures, tomorrow. We have got news tomorrow. We've got PMIs tomorrow. So we might get some movement on the US dollar tomorrow. But yeah. But there you go. That's my views on everything. Really, really difficult to get into anything this week. So if you're going to trade this week, it's kind of scalpy stuff. Or focus on commodities and indices. Because we've got clear, well, I say we've got clear direction. We've got clear direction until OPEC opens its mouth later, but we've got a clear understanding of what's going on with the indices. The indices, we are looking for shorts on everything. Oil, we are at the moment looking for longs based on fundamentals. All the currency pairs at the moment really is a coin flip. So just be careful, which is why I've got very little exposure on at the minute. And I'm happy with my light exposure, and I will just milk the pairs that I'm in. I'm finding it much nicer at the moment to concentrate on less pairs and focus more on aggressive drawdown control to bank large profits and deal with these than I am getting into lots of pairs based on fundamentals, because nothing's really going anywhere but down, and it's very hard to pick a pullback, which is why most traders fail. Everybody's trying to pick the high and the low. Yeah, aren't we? Every time we see a move, we're always trying to pick that high, and then it does that. We try and pick the high, and it does that. We try and pick the high, we get stopped out, and then eventually we land one, and then we go, oh, I'm out. I've got my money back. And we never make any money. And that's because we're always trying to pick the highs and the lows. When you stop trying to pick the highs and the lows and you just get in with a directional bias, at some point it will play out, because everybody's got to take profits on those moves. At the moment, the difficulty we are having is finding a pullback on most stuff, because everything is just coming down so hard and so fast, or moving in one direction so fast. It's hard to pick pullbacks, especially on these pounds. You know, you wouldn't class that as a pullback normally, would you? It's one 4-hour candle with an accumulation and a spike. You know, it's just no way to get into a lot of stuff. So lower time frames, which is why I've got the EA running on here on M5. So literally anything that gets extended on M5 at the moment, you know, I'm taking them. That's M15. But you get the point. Yeah, just take along when we get extended on anything. Yeah, you'll get that play. If it's got extended, it's because there's been a strong move. After a strong move comes a profit take, and that's what the EA is basically doing at the minute. It's just taking all these profit take moves and gradually banking. But because I'm getting it on M5, obviously, you will get squeezed more, and you have to deal with it more. So there's no risk-free way of trading. It's just a case of getting in when you feel comfortable and getting out when you've got some profit on the table. DAX looks like it's pushing up again. So after the initial move this morning, we've just got into an accumulation. We're just up at the highs. If this fails, this high, I've got 2 minutes. If this high fails, might be a nice little sell opportunity there. Wilson, just finished studying your course over the weekend there, and looking forward to having a go at your method as per the bootcamp. Cool. Difficult week to do it, but yeah, tricky week this week, really tricky. Just got to be so careful with all this. You know, next week is much better. We're moving into PPI numbers and CPI numbers and things next week, so it's just normal stuff. We've got the rate announcement for the pound next week as well. So you know, this is why I you know, say every morning the first thing you've got to do is look at the news. At the beginning of the week, the first thing you do is look at what's coming up this week, because you need to know when the market is likely to be moving for each individual currency. You need to know, right, if I'm going to get myself into some pound positions this week, because there's little happening on the pound, when am I going to get affected next week? So I've got to, anything I get into pounds this week, I've got to be a little bit careful that I try and get out of it by next Thursday, because the pound rate's announced. If that goes the wrong way, it'd be interesting to see what they do with the pound rate. Why is there no data? Oh, let's go and look at number one. Monetary policy summary, of course there isn't. So yeah, I mean, pound rates, we are, you know, the British always do what they say. So we're getting forecast announcements. We are creeping up 0.5%, 0.25% at a time. It's not enough. We know it's not enough. That's why the pound is tanking. Forecast will be interesting this week. I think the votes last time round were, yeah, no, they weren't actually. They were all as expected. Bit difficult one. Obviously, we got the new PM coming in today at 12:30. So I get the feeling we've got a week to wait before we get any announcement on what we're going to do about energy price caps and things in the UK. that will likely have an impact on this, but I don't think it's going to be this time round. It's more likely to be next time round. So I get the feeling we're probably going to be looking at 2.5%. This time I think they will go with a little bit more than 0.5%, but we will see. There's not been a lot of talk coming out of the Bank of England about rates. So got to be aware of those next week as well. We didn't hold that high there, look. Good little sell opportunity for a scalp. Waiting for the dust to settle, yeah. Exactly. There's plenty of time to put risk on. There's plenty of time to make money. Everybody has the problem. I have the problem. Everybody does. You want to be trading. You want to be in the market. You learn after a while. That's what kills you. That urge to be in the market, because you take trades which are not good. You know what's good. Yeah, I mean, when you're trading things like RSIs and moving averages, you can look historically. Every time a certain thing happens, yeah, every time a certain thing happens in line with a trend, you get that movement. Yeah, you want to get into a trade, but you should wait until then, but you don't, and that's when you get hurt. So you learn after a while. Everybody says only take the A+ setups. That is just the truest thing. Even if you're using a stop loss strategy, taking those A+ setups and being patient are the hardest possible things to do. And at the moment, there is nothing out there A+. So I'm having to take the A's and A minuses, and it's very, very difficult to get into positions. And just got to do it. Luckily, I've been very lucky. The last 2 months, I've had a 30% month and a 25% month, and the vast majority of that has come out of oil and index, because these are the two things that have been moving stable, and we kind of know where they're going. Everything FX is all over the place at the moment, absolutely all over the place. It's a very, very difficult time to be trading FX pairs, because we're just not getting that normal movement. Market's spooky and in and out very, very quick. Really informative, comprehensive review to start the week. Cool. I seem to be forward. My chart is forward DAX. Well, that wouldn't have worked that short. So we definitely get the breakout now. That's why you use stops when you're scalping. Oh, yeah, you will be on a delay, Themba, obviously. There's a delay on stream. There's always a delay on stream. Yeah, that 30% Wilson was is not the norm at all. Don't get excited. The 25 and 30% months are rare. It's the first time. That last month was my best month ever. Normally for me, somewhere between 8 to 15% is the normal return. 25% last month was because I started trading oil and DAX positions, which I don't normally position trade. These were new. Because it's summer trading months, I was looking for something more stable than more predictable to trade. And we just had some moves on them, which we were able to milk for really big profits. Well, I was, but that's not the norm. If you can bank 10% a month, you're doing better than 98%. And 10% a month is 0.5% a day. That's all you need, 0.5% a day. At the moment, I'm milking it. I don't know why. It's just I have to keep trading, checking my shoes every morning to see what I've trodden in, because Things are just working really nicely at the minute. But yeah, don't expect to get 30% a month return. It's not going to happen. And I will have losing months as well, don't forget. Yeah, not every month is going to be positive. I will have 5%, 10% losing months occasionally. And they're back again, look. God, they really... Why can't they just put a filter in place? Adult dating. Anything to do with that. Why can't YouTube just put a filter in place? It would be so easy. Rocky, which country do I belong to? UK. In England. Right, so nothing much moving at the moment this morning. We've got a bit of positive movement on some bits and pieces, but I think you'll find today, whatever Asian ranges have been established, you'll probably find we will just sort of muck around the Asian ranges with London today with most things. And then New York, if we're outside, will likely pull back because we've got no New York session. So it will literally be London manipulation and then London profit take. So I'm not expecting a lot of movement today. I'm not expecting to bank a lot today. Oil potentially is the only thing I think we might have a chance of banking today because of OPEC. So when the OPEC meetings are open, we will get some movement on oil. We just don't know when that's going to be. So really oil is my only mover today. The markets will move during Globex. So Frankfurt, we're going to have DAX movement. For Frankfurt, that was a sell-off of the century as well, wasn't it, on Friday? That was lovely. We're going to have Globex. You can see the Globex session is awful so far today. So there's nothing happening in Globex. So don't expect any movement on the US indices today because obviously the market's shut this afternoon. So DAX and oil really are the only things you can bank on getting decent movement on today. Everything else is really going to be hit and miss. So see what happens. The Aussies as well. I suspect you will probably find we get very little movement on the Aussies ahead of tomorrow morning. So yeah, it's going to be a tough week this week. I'll be happy if I get a couple of percent out this week, but we'll see. Funnily, it's usually crypto scams on Forex vids. Yeah. Are we getting every week? They're back again. Look. Relentless this morning. Absolutely relentless. Yeah, we get them all the time. I think most live streamers do, unfortunately. The nude bots. So, which is the best broker in the UK? According to me, I was planning to open an account under FCA regulated broker. Right, well, first of all, if you go with an FCA regulated broker, you're only going to get 30 to 1 leverage. If you're looking to position trade, 30 to 1 leverage is not enough. You need at least, I would say, 200 to 1. So you can't use an FCA regulated broker unless you've got a very large account. Which most people haven't. Therefore, you can't use a UK broker. So I personally use Forex and Axie are the best. If you're in the UK, Forex and Axie will give you decent leverage. If you want a decent FCA regulated broker, I would go with DarwinX. DarwinX with very tight spreads, very good ECN connection, but you're only going to get 30 to 1. So if you're scalping and trading with a stop loss, it doesn't matter who you use, does it? Use anybody you like, because you're never going to ever need to use that 30 to 1 leverage, because you'll be stopped out before you get anywhere near it all the time, and they'll take all your money. That's it. Long term. Yeah, example of that. TD365 are also good. Yeah, TD365 are good, but again, you won't get the leverage with TD365. They're good. Trader Tom, if anybody knows Trader Tom, he's a scalper. He uses TD365. They're good. They are good. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to position trade, you're going to need leverage. Because we're only using tiny position sizing, obviously, tiny lots. But you're going to need that leverage. Yeah, and obviously think about fees. So if you're going to go with there's things with brokers. Brokers, you need to think spread. Yeah. So if you're going to be scalping the DAX, you need a broker with a tiny spread. So I get 1 point spread on the DAX. I virtually don't get a spread on the DAX. Yeah. So if you want to scalp the DAX, this is Robo Forex. You can't even see the spread. There isn't any. So it doesn't matter what I do, I'm getting in pretty much at market. Something like New Zealand, obviously, is going to have a huge spread. So that's what you want to take into account. How are you trading? If you're scalping, you need to be looking for who's got the tightest spread. If you want the tightest spread, you need to go with an ECN broker, a broker that offers ECN, and they're going to charge you commission per trade, and you'll get a tighter spread. If you're position trading, spread is much less important, so you can go with a broker that doesn't charge commission and only charges the spread. Either way, the broker's going to get the same amount of money out of you, so it really doesn't matter. But the thing you want to also look for is overnights. So you get a lot of manipulation on overnight candles with some brokers. Pound New Zealand's a good one to look at. So sometimes you're going to get these whacking great overnight candles because there's no liquidity in the market at rollover. Some brokers will spread widen massively, others don't. One of the reasons I've just left Axie is because I found Axie was spreading me so badly on the rollovers. I just couldn't bear it anymore, which is why I switched over to Robo Forex. And so far, Robo Forex have been pretty good. But you still will get the odd one, especially on the New Zealand dollar pairs. You're going to get the odd one on the Asians rollovers, which are shocking. Nothing you can do about it. My only fear of getting scammed by a broker when it comes to withdrawal. If you go with a regulated broker, you will not get scammed. Rocky, I've just read your next comment. Heed me well on this one. You said, I want a broker who will not scam me when I withdraw big after 1 year of compounding the account. Don't worry about withdrawing if you're fairly new to Forex. What you want to worry about is trading, because you're going to blow probably 3 to 5 accounts before you'll ever withdraw anything. So whatever you're going to put into your broker, lose it. You're going to lose it. Just lose it. Yeah. 90. What's the stat? 60% of traders lose 60% of their accounts within 60 days. Yeah. Because you've lost 60% of your account, that makes you over leverage because you're trying to get your account back. And that you will then lose 60% of that over leveraging within 60 days. And then you will stop for a bit. Then you will go back and you'll go, right, I found a new strategy because I've hopped to another one. And then you will put more money in. And then you will lose 60% of that within 60 days. Yeah. You just need to choose a regulated broker, and I can't stress this strong enough. If your broker is regulated by an overseas regulator, they are regulated. Yeah. So my broker is regulated by the Seychelles, in the Seychelles, but they are regulated. There is a governing body regulating them, and they have multiple governing body regulation. Yeah. So as long as they're regulated, it's fine. If you go with a broker that isn't regulated, yeah, you're basically putting $1,000 onto a website, or 5,000, or whatever you put into a website. Yes, if they're not regulated, then yeah, you're going to get scammed. But it's not rocket science to be able to find a decent broker. Robo Forex has been around for decade or more, do you think they will scam you? No, because they've been around for a decade. They're one of the biggest brokers out there. Darwin X have been around for years. IC Markets, Blueberry. You know, just do your research. If you find a broker and you think they look good, look at the bottom of their website. Who are they regulated by? If they're regulated by multiple regulators, i.e. they operate in the UK with FCA, they operate in the States with whoever, blah, 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 that's fine. They're good. If they've got no regulation on the bottom of their website, they're probably a scam broker, aren't they? Look up their domain name. When was their domain name registered? If it's within 2 years, run a mile. Just got to do your research, yeah? But don't worry about withdrawing money, yeah? Worry about keeping that money in the account for 3 months. If you can deposit X into an account and 3 months later turn around to me and say you've got X or more, that's when you need to start looking for a decent broker. Yeah, when you get 3 months of profit or break even, the first step of any broker, there's on my website, there's a PDF here called 5 Steps to Becoming Consistently Profitable. Yeah, just go and download this if you haven't already. That links to the wrong page. Right, I'll fix that. Steps. Where is it? Hang on. Oh no, I don't know where it is. I'll fix this link in a minute. What did I call it then? I don't know. I'll have to find it. I'll fix this link and then you can go and get it. But it's called the 5 Steps to Become a Profitable Trader. And basically, when you've been consistent for 3 months, or break even for 3 months, if you go through a period where in 3 months you turn and look at your account and go, I haven't lost money, that is kind of step 3. Then you go to a step 4, which is called walking on water. Then you suddenly become overconfident and you will take 2 steps back. When you realize that you've taken 2 steps back at step 4, you get back to step 3, and then the next time when you get to step 4, you skip it and go on to step 5, which is consistently profitable. That is 3 months, and that's what I would say to anybody. Get a demo account. If you can trade a demo account and not lose on that demo account for 3 months, that's when you go live. Because you are going to lose I've never ever met a trader that's deposited money into a trading account and hasn't blown it, ever. I've blown multiple accounts. Everybody has. It's part of trading. It's part of your education. Yeah. If you haven't put 10 or 15k into trading accounts and blown them, you're not very far in your education yet. My opinion, just based on who I've met over the last sort of 13 odd years. But before we go, there's a question about the yeah, Wilson, if you want to ask me questions in the Telegram group, the best thing to do is to ask them in the Telegram group, because then everybody benefits from the answers. If you want to DM me, that's fine as well, but ask questions in the Telegram group, because then everybody sees the answers, and that way then I don't get asked the same questions over and over again. Withdrawals are the last of a broker's worries if they make plenty from your fees and losses. Yeah, exactly. Rocky, 5 years experience, now planning to compound 10k with a 1% daily gain. If you're 5 years in experience and you're planning to compound a 10k account, you've got to ask yourself, you're 5 years in and you haven't got consistently profitable yet, stop planning to compound a 10k account. Plan on finding a strategy that works for you. I can plan to make myself a millionaire. Best laid plans will not work unless you've put them into practice and actually done them and done it for a few months without trading real money. You haven't lost on demo for 8 months now, with a 40% drawdown and 3% daily gains on average. So why are you asking me about withdrawals, Rocky? And looking for broker advice? Sorry, it doesn't really stand up, does it? If you've been trading for 5 years and you're asking me for a good broker and you've been consistently profitable for 8 months, first of all, what are you doing here? Why are you watching this? Go off and trade. You've made it, haven't you? You've done it. You've cracked it. You shouldn't be looking at other strategies, because all you're doing is you're distracting yourself looking for something better than what you've got. Cool. That's good. If you've got a strategy and it's working, trade it. Go and trade it. I've never had a problem. That's not long story short. I've never had a problem withdrawing from a broker ever. I don't know why people ever have a problem. I've never heard of a person having a problem with withdrawing from a broker. Some kind of myth. If you're worried about it, go and stick $200 in a broker, yeah, and then the next day go and draw it out. Worst case scenario, then you can lose $200. You're worried about it being your first big deposit. Right, well, what I would say to that is don't deposit it all in the account. Okay, go and split it into 4. So if you've got 10k account, deposit 2.5k into your broker, but trade it with the same lot sizing as if you were trading a 10k account. You can always top it up if you get to a point where you're going to go into drawdown. But I would say if you've got if you're going to maximum of 40% drawdown, that's probably going to blow your account anyway. 40% drawdown on an account is huge risk. Something's not right with that if it's got 40% drawdown. When I'm getting up to sort of 8 to 10% drawdown on my account, I'm not panicking, but I'm certainly admitting I'm wrong and I'm doing something about it. If I got to 40% drawdown on my account, I don't know. I don't even know how I'd even get there. It's too much. But split it up. Don't put it all in. I used to. This account I've got at the moment, I put 30k into this. It's now up to 58 or something. But I'm going to be withdrawing from this shortly. But I used to only put a small amount in my account and then trade it with larger lot sizing than the account. So I would put 10k deposit in out of 30, but I would trade it with lots as if it was 30k. So you would see these figures being much bigger than expected, and the drawdown would be much bigger than expected because I would only have a small amount of my actual money sitting in the broker. I've got the money sitting in the bank, but put 2.5k in, and then if your drawdown gets to a point where you're going to get a margin call, stick another 2.5k in. So yeah, just be, if you've got alarm bells ringing about a broker, you shouldn't be dealing with that broker. Is all I would say. Yeah, just use a big broker. Just use a big broker. You're not going to get scammed with a big broker. They can't, because they lose their regulation and they go out of business. And that's not what they're interested in. They're interested in making money, like you and me. So they make it every time we press a button, which is a good business to be in. Right, so nothing's moved much anywhere. It's all a bit crap this morning. So I'm just going to monitor this morning. I might try a few little scalps on the DAX because that's the only thing that's really moving. But the DAX is actually not really doing a lot either. I get the feeling we'll probably go into a bit of a sideways mess, and I'll probably just leave it alone. I'm going to work on EA development this morning. Sammy, I am still live. Long session. Yeah, we've just been waffling, to be honest, for the last 20 minutes or so. Just talking. Not a lot to do, Sammy, today at the minute. It's a bit rubbish. This week's going to be a bit rubbish. And we got this lovely little bot that keeps invading us, who I've now reported, what's this, the 4th time? Keeps coming back. Nude HD. Any domain that ends in .xyz, run a mile. Seriously, if you can't afford or get a decent domain name, you have to get one that ends in XYZ. You know it's not going to end well. Right, guys, I'm going to shoot off. As I say, today's going to be mainly just watching things going sideways. So I will be back tomorrow morning at 7:50, same time. I'll be in the Telegram group though. If you need anything, come in there. But I don't expect it to be very busy today. There's not a lot happening. We've got no New York session, so I'll be back tomorrow morning 7:50. Keep an eye on oil. That is the main thing today that you're going to get movement on oil. And then tomorrow morning, if you've got anything on Aussie or New Zealand, I would adjust stops on it. I'll be looking at my Euro New Zealand short and adjusting stops on it, assuming that we're going to get a pump on the Euro and the New Zealand will get dragged with it. Euro New Zealand down. So I'll be adjusting stops on Euro New Zealand. So hopefully take advantage of that. So yeah, be aware of that. Obviously, will have happened before tomorrow morning. So make sure your Aussies and your New Zealands, you are any exposure you've got on them, just either take profit on anything you've got in profit, or make sure you've got your TPs adjusted accordingly. Okay, have a good one. I'll see you in the Telegram group if you're in there. Otherwise, we're back tomorrow morning 7:50 same time, and we will see where we're going with the Aussie. All right, have a good one. See you tomorrow morning.